Hello artists, Mrs. Arnold here with another art project for you all this week. So exciting. So what we are going to be doing this week is we are going to be using shapes and a little bit of our knowledge on lines to create a landscape with some winter evergreen trees. It's starting to get a little bit colder outside. We saw some snow last week, so that was really exciting. So I figured why not have fun with a little wintry themed lesson as it gets colder. So we'll be reviewing shapes, lines, just like I said. For supplies, what we are going to need is, of course, we want to have a piece of paper to start, very important. And I am going to be using crayons for this project, just crayons. So you don't need to worry about finding anything else. That's really it. So let's get started. Alrighty, so we are going to start our winter tree landscape project here. This video is time-lapsed, so if you need to pause it at any time to catch up, don't worry, you can do that. So I mentioned using shapes. So the shapes that we're using for this project are going to be a triangle, a rectangle, and possibly a circle, but the circle's going to be optional. So we've got triangle, rectangle, and circle. Those are our three shapes. So I am using crayons here. I am going to start with a green crayon, and I'm going to draw 3 triangles. Now these triangles are going to be, I'm going to try to make them 3 different sizes. And the bottom edge of that triangle, the one that's closest to the bottom edge of your paper, should be the biggest. And then one goes a little higher up, it gets a little smaller. And then the highest one up, which should be no higher than halfway up, is your smallest. So now I'm switching to my brown crayon, and I'm going to put a little rectangle underneath each triangle. Finish off those tops there. So these are the bases of my trees, and the bases of those trees are covered in tree bark, so I'm just going to use kind of some squiggly lines, some wavy lines here to give it kind of that bark-like texture. If you have a light brown, you can color over this with that light brown. I don't have a lighter shade of brown. This is my only shade of brown, so I am just making sure that I'm not pressing too hard with it so that you can still see all of that texture in my bark. So now what I'm going to do is, if you want, you can decorate these trees to look like Christmas trees if Christmas is a holiday that you celebrate. So I'm just going to do one tree so you can see how that's done. So I'm using circles now, and I picked red for ornaments, yellow, blue. Yeah, blue looks good. So I'm going to make my ornaments here by making lots of little circles. You can do that on all of your trees if you want, just one tree, or none of your trees if you don't celebrate a holiday where you have a tree. That's okay. So now I'm using a series of vertical lines to fill in my tree. So I went back to my green crayon, and those vertical lines, remember, are the lines that go up and down. So the reason I'm using these vertical lines is because it makes it look more like pine needles, so it has that texture of an evergreen tree. We're not just coloring it in solid green. So I am filling those with lines, and now I'm switching to a different shade of green, and I'm going to fill it in the rest of the way. If you have more than 2 shades of green, you are welcome to use as many shades of green as you want for this step. The more shades you use, the better it looks. But for me, I only had 2 shades of green at home, so I could only use 2. But normally I use at least 3. So I've got my one tree that's decorated, and then my 2 trees that are just those beautiful evergreen trees. Nice. So now I'm going to go in with my blue crayon, and I'm going to make my horizon line. So I want it to be halfway up my paper. And I don't want it to go above the bases of the tree. So see, as I swoop up there, I want to make sure my tree is planted on the ground. So I made sure my line was high enough up for that. And then just to give some texture to like my little snow mounds, I'm just going to make some wavy lines here just to look like it's a snowy field. And if you want, you can take a yellow crayon and make a big sun in the sky using that circle. And last, I need to fill in my sky. And my sky should be solid blue, not just a blue stripe at the top of your paper, remember, but the whole thing. So I'm starting at that horizon line and coloring all the way up to the top of my paper. Or I'm starting at the top of my paper and going all the way down to that horizon line, but I want to fill in my whole sky. Nice and solid. I try to keep my crayon going in the same direction the whole time because I feel like I'm able to color it in much faster that way. Alrighty, just finishing this up here, getting all the way to the edge. All the way to my horizon line. So there you have it, your winter evergreen trees, your landscape. So when we do a landscape, that means it is a work of art that is an image of a place. So you've got your very first landscape here. Beautiful work. Alrighty, so there we have it. You guys have completed your wintry evergreen tree landscape project, which is just awesome. I am so proud of you guys. So now that it's all done, we can take a photo and post it so that I can see your beautiful work. I cannot wait. So post that so that I can see it and comment on it. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day and rest of your week, and I will see you soon.